The new AI growth model, how AI changes activation, retention, expansion, and growth. So for the last 15 years, SaaS companies have basically been optimizing the same growth machine. Acquire the users, get them to sign up, get them through onboarding, get them to adopt features, convert them to paid, retain them, and then expand them. And we've built an entire growth discipline around optimizing those steps. Activation rates, daily active users, weekly active users, monthly active users, feature adoption, seat expansion, net revenue retention. But AI is starting to break some of those assumptions underneath that model. And because increasingly customers don't actually want to use software, they want software to do the work. So think about it. I don't necessarily want another analytics dashboard. I want to know why revenue dropped. I don't want another CRM workflow builder. I want qualified prospects followed up with. I don't want 20 new AI features. I want the job done. And if that's where software is heading, we need to rethink what growth actually means. So today I want to answer one question. How do you build a growth engine when software starts doing the work? Old SaaS model. Let's start with the model most of us know. Acquire someone, get them to activate, increase engagement, convert them, retain them, expand the account. Pretty familiar. And there's nothing inherently wrong with this, but there's an assumption buried inside it. The customer is operating the software. The customer logs in, the customer creates things, the customer clicks buttons, the customer configures workflows, the customer collaborates, the customer performs actions, and those actions eventually produce an outcome. So naturally, we start measuring those actions. And did they create the project? Did they invite the teammates? Did they use the 7 features? How many sessions did they have? What's the daily active users over monthly active users? These became proxies for customer value. And for traditional SaaS, they were often pretty good proxies. But AI creates a strange possibility. So what if engagement goes down? What happens if your product becomes dramatically better and engagement goes down? So imagine a workflow that previously required 30 minutes inside your product. Now an AI agent completes it in 30 seconds. Sessions might decrease, clicks decrease, time in product decreases, maybe even feature usage decreases. And yet the customer receives more value. That's a pretty weird situation if you're running a company using traditional SaaS engagement metrics. You could theoretically improve your product while making your engagement dashboard look worse. That's the first big shift. I can separate engagement from value. For years, we've been asked, how do we get customers to use more software? AI forces us to ask something very different. How do we help customers accomplish more while using software less? So AI collapses time to value. And this is where AI gets really interesting for growth. Think about traditional SaaS onboarding. You sign up, verify your email, create a workspace, another 6 questions, connect integrations, configure something, watch a tutorial, click around for a while, and eventually, hopefully, you'll experience value. We've all been through that onboarding flow. Growth teams have spent years trying to reduce the friction between sign up and activation. But AI gives us opportunity to collapse the journey even furthermore. Instead of saying, here are the tools you need to solve your problem, the product can increasingly say, just tell me where you're trying to accomplish, and then do it. And that's a completely different activation experience. The goal isn't getting someone to understand your product. The goal is to get them to their first meaningful outcome as quickly as possible. From feature adoption to outcome adoption, that brings us to what I think is one of the most important changes for growth teams. We're moving from feature adoption towards outcome adoption. Traditional product analytics asks, what feature did they use? How frequently? How many actions did they perform? But with an AI product, I'd want you to understand something else. Did they get a useful result? Did we successfully complete the task? Did they accept the output? Did they actually use the output? Did they come back with another job? And eventually, are they trusting us with more valuable work? And that leads to something I think is really important. Trust is a new activation. So trust becomes one of the most important activation metrics for AI. Think about your first interaction with an AI product. You're not only evaluating, does this feature work? You're evaluating, can I trust this thing? Can I trust the answer? Can I trust the output? Can I trust to a customer? Can I trust it with the data that I'm supplying it? Can I trust it? Can I let it change something? Can I let it take an action? And eventually, can I let it do something without checking every step? That's a fundamentally different relationship with software. So the activation event for an AI product might not be simply generate first output. A much more interesting activation event might be accept first output or used first recommendation or authorize action, because something that's happened there, the user has crossed the trust threshold. And once that happens, something really interesting becomes possible. Delegation. So the delegation ladder. I think there's a useful mental model for product adoption. I call it the delegation ladder. At level 1, ask. I'm basically treating AI like a search engine. Tell me something, low risk, low trust required. Then create. Write this, analyze this, design this, build this. Now I'm trusting this with an output. Next, recommend. Don't just give me information, tell me what I should do. Now we're increasing the level of trust. Then act, send it, update it, book it, deploy it, change the campaign, but ask me for approval first. And eventually, autonomy. Don't ask me. Handle it. Tell me when something important happens. Now look at what's happening. Every step requires greater trust, but every step can carry also a greater customer value. So that gives us really interesting growth question. Instead of asking, how do we get customers to adopt another feature? Ask, how do we earn enough trust for the customer to delegate more work? Delegation could become expansion. And this matters because it changes expansion. A huge amount of SaaS has historically monetized expansion through seats. Company grows, more employees need software, so more licenses get purchased, ARR expands, simple. But AI creates a tension here. What if the entire promise of your product, you need fewer people to accomplish the same amount of work? Now, seat-based expansion doesn't perfectly align with the value you're creating. In fact, the customers could get more value while needing fewer seats. And that's a problem if the seats are the foundation of your monetization model. So expansion might increasingly come from something else. More tasks, more workflows, more agents, more actions, more volume, more outcomes, more autonomy. In other words, more work delegated to the product. And that's why AI pricing and AI growth strategy are becoming increasingly difficult to separate. Your monetization model needs to expand the thing that's actually creating the value. AI changes retention too. So now let's talk about retention. Traditional SaaS has several natural retention mechanisms. Your data lives there, your team collaborates there, you've built workflows, you've connected integrations, you've accumulated history. AI introduces another potentially powerful retention mechanism. So imagine an AI system that increasingly understands your company, your preferences, your previous work, your customers, your writing styles, your processes, your decisions, your standards, your workflow. Theoretically, the product should become more useful as that context accumulates. And first week might feel generic, but the 6 months later, it understands exactly how you work. And that's potentially very powerful retention. And here's the catch. Context isn't a moat just because you stored it. The customer has to feel improvement. If 6 months of context produces basically the same experience as day one, you haven't created much of the retention advantage. Compounding AI product. Here's where this can become really powerful. Imagine this loop. I use the product gets more context, the context produces better outcomes increase trust, and more trust leads me to delegate more work, and more delegated work creates more context. And around we go. Usage, context, better outcomes, trust, delegation, more usage. That's compounding AI product. And that is much more interesting to me than simply saying the user logged in 14 times this month, because now the product can theoretically become more valuable to the customer. The longer they use it, the kind of mechanism I'd be looking for when thinking about AI retention. There's a problem. Another side to this, more usage does not necessarily mean a better business. Historically, marginal software usage could be increasingly cheap. Another query, another document, another action. The cost wasn't necessarily material, but AI changes that. Inference costs, money, agents, the model repeatedly. They can invoke tools, generate media, run code, search, reason, perform multiple steps before producing results. So you can actually create this bizarre situation where usage goes up, engagement goes down, or engagement goes up. Customer loves the product and your economics get worse. That's a serious problem, which means growth teams need to care about something they could previously leave primarily to finance, cost to serve. The AI Growth Scorecard. So if I were building a growth scorecard for an AI native subscription product today, I'd start somewhere around here. Intent. Are customers bringing us meaningful jobs? Outcome. How do we actually solve them? Trust. Are customers accepting and using the results? Delegation. Are they trusting us more? Retention. Do they keep coming back with more jobs? Expansion. Is there an amount of value or delegated work increasing? And finally, economics. Can we profitably deliver those outcomes? Now, notice what's missing. Clicks, sessions, feature count, time in product. I'm not saying those metrics become useless. I'm saying they're proxies. And as AI changes how people interact with software, some of those proxies may become a lot less reliable. So the new AI growth model, so put everything together, you get a different way of looking at the growth engine. So you start with intent. What's the customer actually trying to accomplish? Then you get them an outcome. As quickly as possible, use that outcome to build trust, then turn trust into delegation, turn delegation into repeated outcomes and retention, then earn that right to handle more valuable work and drive expansion, all while making sure the economics underneath the system actually work. That's the shift. The old growth question was, how do we get more people to use more software? The AI native growth question is increasingly, how do we get software to create more value for people? But don't copy this funnel. Now, I want to make an important distinction here. Please don't take, a copy of this or a screenshot of this and go back to your team tomorrow and start optimizing all 7 stages. Because exactly how growth teams end up doing 100 things and moving nothing. Your business probably doesn't have 7 equally important problems. It has constraint. Maybe you have incredible retention, but nobody knows you exist. That's acquisition. Maybe thousands of people sign up, but never experience anything meaningful. That's activation. But maybe people love the first experience, but never come back. That's retention. Maybe retention is fantastic, but accounts never expand. Maybe AI usage is exploding, but your unit economics are terrible. Maybe your pricing model no longer matches the value you're creating. Those are completely different businesses, and they should not be running the same growth playbook. So more experiments aren't the answer. And this is probably one of the biggest mistakes I see in growth. Teams love experiments. They change the landing page, launch a referral program, test onboarding, change pricing, add annual plans, build an AI feature, start outbound, try TikTok, run ads. Okay, but why? An experiment is only useful if it's attacking a problem that actually matters. If your biggest constraint is retention and your team spends the quarter in, increasing the website conversion, you might be producing a beautiful experiment result. Everyone celebrates, conversion went up 12%, great. But, are you barely changed the trajectory of the company? So I don't think that the goal is run more experiments. The goal is find the highest leverage constraint and systematically attack it. GrowthPad Growth OS. That's a system I've been developing through GrowthPad. We start with diagnose, understand the entire growth engine, acquisition, activation, monetization, retention, expansion, economics, then measure. What does the data actually tell us? Where is growth breaking down? Then prioritize. What's the highest leverage constraint? And importantly, what should we deliberately not work on? Then experiment. What are the few high quality bets we can make against the constraint? And finally, execute. Turn these ideas into an actual operating plan. Then you repeat, diagnose, measure, prioritize, experiment, execute. The tactic will change. AI will change. The technology will definitely change. But the discipline of finding the constraint doesn't. Now, apply it to your company. And this is where a 30-minute lesson reaches its limit. I can show you frameworks. I can show you AI trends. I can show you pricing examples. I can talk about activation. I can talk about retention, expansion, monetization. But none of that actually answers the most important question for you. What should your company actually do next? Because I don't know your numbers. I don't know your funnel. I don't know your customers drop off, where your customers drop off. I don't know your pricing. I don't know your retention curve. I don't know your acquisition channel. And I don't know where your team is actually working on. And that's exactly why I've built the growth strategy workshop. So the growth strategy workshop, this is a 3-hour working session. And I want to emphasize a working session. This isn't 3 hours of sitting there and, talking through another giant slide deck. You bring your company, your growth engine, your numbers, your assumptions, your current priorities, and we're going to work through them together. The objective is very simple. Figure out your biggest growth constraint and build a plan to attack it. So what you'll build, we'll start by mapping your growth engine. Where does growth actually come from? Where does it break? What drives acquisition? What creates activation? What creates retention? How does monetization work? How does expansion happen? Then we'll identify the constraints. We'll build a scorecard you should actually be watching. We'll create an opportunity backlog. And then we'll go through and force ourselves to prioritize not 20 experiments, 3. We'll turn those into a 90-day roadmap. The goal isn't, when you leave Monday morning looks different. You know what matters, you know what doesn't matter, and you know exactly what you're going to work on next. So who is this for? This is designed for people who already have something to grow. So founders with traction, product and growth leaders, GTM and revenue leaders, especially if you're looking at, AI right now and thinking, we could change pricing, we could, improve onboarding, we could launch agents, we could work on retention, we could change packaging, we could build a referral loop, we could run another 20 experiments. Okay. But which of those things actually matter most? And that's the question I want you to leave with, knowing the workshop and how to answer that. So the difference, that's how I think about these enlightening lessons. Here, we're going to keep unpacking individual growth problems, AI pricing, AI native growth, retention, monetization, expansion. I'll keep making these sessions available, but collecting more ideas isn't necessarily what's going to move your company forward. These lessons are where we learn the ideas, and the growth strategy workshop is where we apply the system to your business. So I'll leave you with 2 questions. So if AI fundamentally changes how customers receive value from your product, has your growth model changed with it? And the second one, what is the single biggest constraint preventing your company from growing faster right now? If you don't have a confident answer to that question, come join me at the growth strategy workshop. We'll map the engine, find the constraints, choose the experiments, and build your 90-day growth plan. You can find the next session at mavin.com/growthpad. You can also find me on LinkedIn. My name is Zain Abidin, and thanks for joining me, and I'll see you at the next lightning session.